Hello friends, this is Marcy here with Creators Call Shop here on YouTube and Creators Call on Etsy. You're getting me just kind of au naturel today as I am. I went and took a walk around the neighborhood and I needed to go pick something up, so I decided to walk there instead of driving. And right now, as I record this, we're all still in isolation / quarantine, stay at home mode, but I wanted to record this intro. Everybody has time on their hands, and I know I said I wasn't going to do another isolation one, but a lot of people are doing some cleaning out, and I ran across a video that I recorded last fall as I was kind of prepping for this channel, and I wasn't sure if I was going to use it or not. It was about cleaning out and organizing tips and ways to dispose of things. Anyway, I thought, well, since a lot of people are doing the cleaning out and I recorded that video, hopefully the content will be helpful, because I know it can be absolutely overwhelming and you have good intentions, but when you sit down and look at the mess, it's kind of hard to figure out where to start and how to start that process. So get yourself something to drink, get yourself comfy, take a few minutes, and we'll get started with that video in just a minute. Thanks. Welcome. Okay, hopefully you have your drink, you've got your blanket, and you're all comfortable. In today's video, we are going to learn about organizing. I've been doing a lot of that over the past 2 to 3 years, and I learned a few principles, and today I thought, you know what, it would be really fun to just share that. So what I wanted to talk about today is some things that I've learned lately about organizing. I'm going to be referring to my notes here below, so you'll see me looking down from time to time. And hopefully that doesn't bug you, but it keeps us all on topic and you don't get bored with my ramblings. So in 2016, I believe it was, I kind of became convicted a little bit and just really impressed that I needed to start cleaning a lot of stuff out. We inherited a lot of stuff a number of years ago and we've been carting it around. And I thought, rather than wait until I'm dead out and saddling my children with this task, I just really felt it was important to be good stewards of what we had, to dispose of what we did not any longer need. And so I started watching organizing videos. I have a few ladies that I really enjoyed watching and some that I still watch today, and I will link those channels down below in the description box. And along the way, in the last year or so, I've had other people who are also trying to downsize, get rid of things, and it can be really overwhelming, especially if you have inherited items. They're supposed to be precious, but you don't know how to sort through it. And so I've kind of found myself giving the same advice over and over, and I thought, what the heck, let's just throw it out here on the channel. And I'm going to make this part of my life behind the lens or life behind the camera on Creators Call segment, because it isn't exactly pertaining to the shop, but it does pertain to life. So anyway, the first thing that I have learned is that there are 3 categories you need to sort into. Categories are keep, sell or donate, so that's get rid of, and then the last category is throw away. So keep, sell or donate, and throw away. In the keep category, the things that are precious to each one of us are varied and different, and they don't have to have any rhyme or reason. I started watching the FlyLady, and she's very good at breaking these things down into sections, and so that is a really good system to use when you're trying to just figure out, you know, some of us just have a lot of stuff and we've stuffed it everywhere. It's a really good system for breaking it down into areas, because you can't bite off the whole elephant at once. You just have to take little bites, and then as you do a little bit at a time, your task will get easier and easier. But if you try to just look at the whole job and do it all at one time in a day or a week or a month, you're going to get overwhelmed. So as you go through these sections, then follow these 3 categories: keep, sell or donate, and throw away. And it really does make it easy. So the things that you keep are the ones that you love. You just really like them. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone but you. I'm going to interject a quick caveat. If you're going through a lot of things, and some of them are actually like your spouse's or your children's, you really need to involve them in this process a little bit and at least ask, what do you really like and what can I get rid of? Don't just go through willy-nilly, unless your children are really small and they won't care, they won't remember. But especially if it is your husband, or, you know, say you, sometimes you live with roommates, sometimes you live with a sibling as you get older. That's not at all uncommon. So, or you live with a parent because you're there taking care of them. So involve that other person. Don't just go through their stuff and start tossing, because how are you going to know what they like or what they don't if you don't ask? So the keep category, there's no limit on the amount of items unless you want to impose that on yourself, and there's no logic, and it doesn't have to make sense to anybody but the person that really treasures it. Second, sell or donate. Lots of ways to sell, and you need to decide what is worth your time and what is not. So there's Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace, there's eBay, there's Etsy, there is, what else can we sell? You can sell on Craigslist. You can, I don't know if anyone still has a local paper with ads, but you can do that. And then sometimes the quickest and most effective way is I employ my children and their social media skills, and they just get on Facebook and say, hey, we've got this. Does anybody want it? And within minutes, usually most things are gone. A recent example of this, we had a full-size mattress with box springs that was my daughter's, very gently used. My husband got on Facebook and just reached out and said, hey, does anybody have a need for a double-sized mattress? We've got a mattress, box springs, no stains, odors, tears. It's in really good shape. It's like new, and who wants it? You can come get it. Where did I go? I went to the grocery store. 15 minutes, I came back, and he had found someone who wanted it. So that's a good way to donate/sell. The other way, if you don't want to take a lot of time, sometimes for me, I have become a reseller recently only because of the amount of old family items that we had, but mostly I like to just pack it all in a box, make myself a list, and donate it. Now, when you donate your items, they should not be junky. They should not be falling apart. And they should not be dirty, stained, smelly, your dog pottied on it or whatever. They need to be usable, because there's no point in donating something that nobody else is going to want to buy. And it really doesn't do these charities or these services any good to have to sort through your junk. Be judicious about what you donate. Donate things that are quality, and donate things that you don't use anymore. A good place to donate is to the charities that help people get back on their feet, like the Women's and Children's Alliance. I don't know if that's regional or national, but places that are helping people, say, refurbish an apartment, or if they're getting back into society after an incarceration, they need to get up and going and have things to set up and live independently. And you don't have to always get money for donations. You can donate to your kids' college friends who are getting a first apartment. You can donate to your church Sunday school if they're having a garage sale. You can do all those kinds of things. So be creative. Whether you're selling or donating, sometimes I just find it's a lot easier and effective for me to donate and then to list the value that it actually is than to try to take the time and sell. And any more selling involves photography, and if you're going to sell on some of these sites, you have to make the listing, and then you have to be willing to package it and ship it. So just decide what's important to you. And then the last category, throw it away. If it's ugly, if it's way out of style, or it's really dirty, or it's incredibly broken and can never be repaired, throw it away. It's hard, but you know what? It only hurts for that split second. You dump it in the trash. Case in point, yesterday I just got rid of 6 pair of shoes. Most of them were stained, old. Some of them were missing the insoles. They had been comfortable on my feet. I hurt my foot a few years ago, and so now I have to be very picky about my shoes. Not everything feels good, and so these were all shoes that either I've had them for 15 years, or they just are no longer comfortable on my feet, but they were kind of beat up. Nobody was going to get any more use out of them. I counted them up. I had 6 pair. I couldn't believe it. And 1 pair of tennis shoes that I always did my gardening and painting in, and they're trashed. So it only hurt for the split second. I poured them in the trash can, and then it doesn't hurt anymore. So the mattress didn't really hurt. I was ready to get rid of it. I'm trying to think, what else have we gotten rid of recently that hurt for a split second, and then I was glad it was gone. We had a car die. It was a little sad to see that go, but at the same time, we gave it to a charity here that likes to auction them off for people to rebuild. It hurt for the split second when the guy was putting it on the back of his tow truck. We said sayonara, and then we came inside and rejoiced because it was nice to have it out of our driveway. So don't get so attached. It's just stuff, man. It really is. You can always really go back to the thrift store and buy it back if you absolutely need it. And then one of my favorite things to do is, along with that, if you're just not sure if you're going to use it, you're not sure if you want to keep it or not, put it in a box, put an expiration date on it, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, a year. And at the end of that expiration, you donate that stuff, because most of the time you're going to find out you didn't even touch the box. And so I find that's a little bit, it's like a interventional step that you can take to get rid of stuff, and it hurts a little less. However, you do have to still store the box for that amount of time. So as I said, there's lots of ways to sell. eBay, Etsy, Facebook, Craigslist. You can have a garage sale. If it's a big amount of stuff, or particularly if you're clearing out for a parent, then definitely hire your estate sale person. They are the pros. They really are. And it's worth it because they come through, they sort, they price, they do all the work. You pay them a fee, but they do all the work. And so we also have this is kind of on the donation side of that, but we also have a local group that will bring a van to your house. So it's really nice when you're donating. You just call them, they bring the van. We can't donate really big items of furniture, but they will come and pick it up at your house. So if you're homebound or you're, whatever, and it's hard for you to get to the thrift store or whatever, and you're working, or maybe your work hours are weird, arrange with somebody like that in your town. You can still write your list, you can still claim your donation, and they'll come to your house and pick it up, and voila, problem solved. If it's big stuff, you might have to figure out or arrange with them to get bigger items taken care of. Find a friend with a truck, there's always that. If it's art or antiques, you can go with a dealer, an art dealer. I don't have anything that's that valuable in the art category. I don't really have high-end antiques, but I would definitely be getting a professional, and get your referrals from your friends, or go online and see their ratings and things and check them out a little bit. But that's one way to sell. You can sell on consignment, furniture consignment, so there's lots of ways to sell stuff. On the donations, again, we have several entities that the state endorses, and we get an additional credit on our state taxes. So you might check out and see if your state does that as well. And after that, just, enjoy the free space. It's okay to not have every spot cluttered. I come from a long line of pack rats. I made a decision many years ago that I didn't want to be like that. And in the past years, as we have had things handed down to us, it's been kind of harder to stay committed to that goal. But I'm back at it, and let me tell you, every little bit that you get rid of, it really is freeing. You don't have to have all this stuff around with you for years, and you also don't have to saddle your children with that task after you're gone. It's actually very delightful to say, hey, I really wanted you to have this, or to know that a family member really likes something and to give it to them now. Just let them have it now instead of trying to keep track of who wants what after you're gone. Because if you don't want it anymore and they love it, case in point, my son-in-law, I have this little music box that was given to me years and years ago. I cleaned houses for people in high school, and one of the families, when I graduated high school and was going on to college, they appreciated my service and my help so much. They gave me this really pretty little wooden music box that plays the Hungarian Rhapsody. And I've just hung on to it more or less out of sentiment, but my son-in-law is just giddy over that thing. And so as I recently packed up a box full of things to just have ready for them and to give to them when they get into a house in the next couple of years, I just wrapped up the music box and put it in there now. Because, you know, it was special to me once. It still has the sentimentality, but he loves it too. And I would just rather see him enjoy it now than cart it around with me for the next 40 years until I'm gone. And it, you know, it's just stuff, guys. It really is. It's just stuff. And we just don't need that much stuff. Now, I would never claim to be a minimalist because I'm not, but it is really very therapeutic to appreciate what you have had, how you've been able to use it, and to also appreciate that you can give it on to bless somebody else.
Just a couple more things that I wanted to add to piggyback off that video. I noticed that I could have included a couple more donation ideas, one of which is to donate to Habitat for Humanity. The habitats in our area only accept supplies from houses, building, you know, your home, kind of things like doors, windows, construction type of things, or that are home related. I know that in other parts of the country they are much bigger and have thrift stores attached, so that's a good way to donate things. I've donated bedroom doors that we were switching out, hardware for doors or bathroom fixtures, those kinds of things. So anyway, Habitat for Humanity is a great place to remember to donate to. Another great place, if you have art supplies or things of that nature that people can use to create, in our area we have a creative reuse store. And Lolly at Lollipalooza did a really great video on this a couple of years ago, and if I can find it, I will definitely link it down below for you to watch. But basically, it's repurposing things that people can use to make art, and all manner of things, like if it's wallpaper or paint brushes, fabrics, laces, game tiles, art books. So that's a good way to get rid of some of those things that maybe you're not going to use, but you know somebody else could use. And honestly, I don't see a lot of that in the thrift stores in my area. My area, it's just really hard to find art supplies in general at the thrift stores, and so that's a great place for me to donate to and to get things for my own projects, my own arts and craft supplies for my projects, for journals. I've gotten lots of my fabrics, papers, and laces there, so, and wallpaper. So anyway, that's a good one. And then the last one I thought of that I have personally donated to in our area, we have a organization called Computers for Kids, and they refurbish old computers, and they take all kinds of tech equipment. It doesn't have to just be computers. I first learned about it when I was working, and one of our computer techs at the district volunteered for them, and then they've refurbished these. These are lots of great geeky computer nerd kind of guys, and then they donate them to families in need who can't afford a computer. And so that's a great way to get rid of more techie stuff. So I've donated quite a few things that way that I know still have life and use, but they're too expensive for me to repair. I don't know how to do it, but they're happy to have the donation because then they can train kids on how to use these things. So hopefully that's not too rambly. I just had all this going through my mind. Truthfully, I'm avoiding housework today, but I wanted to add that, and then a couple more tips as you're going through and decluttering, and I did mention it a little bit in the video. Definitely don't be giving your junk, and definitely be giving things that are reusable, repurposable, because honestly, if it's not, it winds up in the landfill anyway, so you're not doing it a service. Secondly, right now, so many of the thrift stores are closed, and it just depends on each area, how seriously they're taking lockdown, what measures they're taking. But there are a lot of people just taking and dumping, and the thrift stores are getting overwhelmed because they don't have the staff right now to go through it, and they don't want to put them at risk. And that stuff is sitting outside, so it's open to the elements, it's open to looters, it's open to animals, rodents, whatever, getting into it, and you're really not doing them a service. That creates more work for them to clean up. It is robbing them, frankly, if the looters come through. That was my second thing. Just don't, I know it's tempting because all that stuff is sitting out there and you're like, oh, it's going to waste. But once it's been donated to the thrift store, and most of them have signs to this effect, but in case yours doesn't, once it's been donated to the thrift store, that is their property. So if you go and you're digging through the stuff that's been donated to them, you are robbing from them, and you're robbing them the opportunity to earn for their business, because many of them do support charities. Now, I realize there's a whole ethical thing with like Goodwill stores and some of them, but bottom line is most of these thrift stores support very, very worthy causes. And so if you're taken out of that pile that's been dropped off, you're stealing, and you're robbing them of the opportunity to produce the income and to provide work for their employees when the doors reopen. So it's just not right to take out of that pile, tempting as it may be. But it's also not right to add to the pile and to add to that problem, because it does make a bigger mess. It's there, now it's an attractive nuisance essentially, and so other people are coming and going through it, and it's just creating a bigger mess for the thrift stores. So please don't donate it until they're back open and ready to accept. But definitely, put that stuff aside, because it's been sitting in your house this long unattended, so it can last in your house another 2 to 3 weeks till everything's back up and going, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. When I recorded that video, obviously none of us were in lockdown and isolation. Yeah, that was just a couple things I wanted to add onto the back of this video. All right, thank you very much for sticking with me, and hopefully you were able to get some inspiration and some ideas for how to tackle your cleaning out projects if you're doing some, and the tips in these, however you decide to go about organizing or cleaning out and purging, it's relevant for any room in the house. And I kind of thought, especially craft rooms, we seem to always be purging and things, but that's one of the places I think where we all struggle is with our craft rooms and our accumulation, our clutter that we accumulate because we have an idea or an ambition. The clutter of aspiration is what I've heard it called, because we have the idea and we mean to do something, so we buy the stuff and then we just never get to it. So then after a while it becomes overwhelming. And so when you sit down to start these projects, it's just hard to have a jumping off point. So thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for living with my appearance. I apologize for the lighting and stuff in that other video. It may not have been quite as good because I was filming at that point on my old phone and I didn't know quite as much about angles and lighting and all of that, but I thought maybe the content could be helpful for all of you. So wanted to close with a verse. It's one of my favorite verses, and it's Ecclesiastes 3:19, and the verse says, "Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might." And I thought that was a very appropriate verse for today when we're talking about cleaning and organizing and disposing. All right, until next time, I want you to do something creative and be inspired today. Bye-bye.